And to any bots that want to throw codes at me, I'm warning you now. I've already flipped all your codes. Please, 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 if you want to learn more of what I'm talking about with these codes and even the learning more about the simplistic forms of phonetics and how we're able to make these massive changes at a collective without using dark magic and occult stuff, because that's what we do over here, please click the community bell, and please click the bell and go to my community page. Every time I launch a video, I'm getting, and I want to also, please, if you have YouTube channels and you're seeing this, as soon as I open, this is an attack, because understand and this is why I'm on here right now, to talk about the spiritual war that many of us that are on this channel, in fact, everybody who watches my channel knows exactly what up, because you are the highest consciousness on the planet. You always have been. You would not be getting my videos if you weren't. Especially because of the decentralization that they've been doing on all of our YouTube channels, because of how technology works in broadband frequencies. See, you happen to be, because I'm prepared for this. My entire journey on this planet was preparing me for right now. And that's the same thing that's happening with you. It just happens that I was in high-end technology since inception of technology on this planet. At the Fortune 100 level, deep into the data and the architecture, because I staffed all the stuff you use right now. So each letter and these bots, what they're doing, okay, is sending spells. And on your YouTube channels, on Instagram, and how what's running in the back end is facial recognition software. And it's also running on broadband channels, because your YouTube channel just doesn't go out to like everybody. What it goes out to, what it does is it looks and sees who's following you, and then it's gonna, hi Delaney, it's going to follow those top same energies. So what they're doing, and I'm just bringing consciousness to this, and this is why every time I put out a video, I lose subscribers. But my videos are, and the energetic broadband that whenever I get on this channel can be tapped in by programmers, okay? And then they can put personalities on my and your, because this is a collective energetic that we're making on here. And right now we claim it as our own, and nobody can ride our coattails. Period. Dot. Because it's blowing up the planet. It's blowing up the planet, a bunch of ignorant people on YouTube talking about crap that they didn't witness. And because they're not even interviewing the ones that did witness it, they're only pouring bullshit from books from way back and occult information. And guess what? We manifested all this shit. This is what everybody needs to get. I'm over here calling out our own shit. And what really blows my mind is that video that I put up in my barest raw form, attempting to tell the human race of what it's like to be an experimental guinea pig in the 13 families whenever you didn't even know you were. And I shared personal things on there that have to be addressed because it's all connected. And then the message I get is, do you think you're Christ? Really? This has been, I'm sorry, Spider, this is bothering me, and it's not even Spider. It's not even Spider. It's a program that runs with humans. When you're dealing with spirit and etheric, humans have a really hard time understanding that it's showing up in front of their face. No matter, we're all down here trying to figure out who we are. And there are many of us that are way more powerful than others of you, and you know it. Why does that bother you? Why does that bother you? Because you have powers in other ways that I don't have. Like I'm begging for, I'm throwing all this out there because I'm hoping they come pick me up. They need to. They're causing, I can't drive around the United States without causing hurricanes and snowstorms. They have taps into every single bank account that I opened in the past year was shut down. Some before I could even use them. I don't think y'all understand what type of attack's been going on over here. I've been showing up as a leader, connecting to all of y'all for the past 3 years. But I will not take the blame for any of it. And I will not defend myself. And I will not take the bullshit from an etheric ascended collective that's supposed to be working together, because we are. And I hear everything. And I feel it all. And it needs to stop. We're working together. We always have been working together. Now here's the thing. Your DNA was capped off. Don't get mad at me. Don't blame me. AB negatives. What I learned is each one of us had a very specific set of DNA strands for different ages and time counts through evolution. So it's like your ABs, which are your plasma on this planet that have to exist. And if you've still got any remnant, which is where the remnant stars come in, this is where the Mormon faith comes in, this is where archaeology comes in. If you have seeds that have remnant DNA in it that has been here since the existence of time, those are the seeds that activated. Those are. See, I'm angry because I got blown my consciousness out, and I'm walking around here knowing exactly what's going on. They're doing it to me. Y'all aren't listening. No one seems to give a shit, and no one's helping. Instead, everyone's just watching people die in Afghanistan whenever I told y'all over 1 billion were going to die about 7 months ago, 6 months ago, because of this crap that the government's pulling and not unifying the twin. Everything down here with the satellites, and all of it was to keep the twins apart. Every single bit of it. Every single bit of it was done to keep us in different dimensions so that different dimensions could be controlled by other dimensions. The earth is alive. You're part of it. All of our bodies work together to make your body. In fact, if you're a Mormon and you signed up for that, you're the pancreas of the planet. If you are a Catholic and you signed up for that, then you are trying to be the body of the collective. I can go back and show you each different race and where you are on the planet, you're clearing energy for the planet. Everybody wants to look at Afghanistan. Now, look, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for Afghanistan, too. But in a lot of ways, I'm more upset about the United States. And here's what we need to start doing in the United States. And everybody needs to get a grip. United States controls the whole world. Always has. Why? Because the feminine energy comes here. And all of us in the United States are starseeds that are literally and have been running the world, not consciously, by handlers, because these are gifts that you just say it and it comes true. You just look at it and it comes true. If you don't know that, then you're being utilized in a system where one of us just has to say it, the other one just has to hear it. It's got to get to the, and then you've got a pinnacle point at the top where, shoot, they're just around you talking about it all the time. As if you're in a coma, they come in your room, which was happening on another dimension. They come in your room, read the speech that they're fixing to read from the portal. They need you to hear it before everyone else hears it, because you're the one who's manifesting the connection to the collective. They have to tell one of us. There's connectors. This is DNA. DNA comes alive in God particle. When you zero out your energy, your DNA writes the story of your life. You want to go fucking with it? Go ahead. Now understand what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that your body down here and what you think is your future, that you think you have control over, until your ancestral DNA is cleaned, you do not. You don't. You're going to walk in that same exact path. Now understand that whenever you activate, that's the point. How did that happen? They blew up all the libraries and blew up all the books. Very easy. Universal law, anything that is used against you and formed against you shall not prosper. Universal law is that if you try to come take away the keys of all knowledge from all humans, then guess what? It's made available immediately in your consciousness. So when you activate, and all of us that have walked this 6-7 year pre-tribulation, what we were doing was activating each ray of our jawbreaker, each layer of DNA linked to the third root race, linked to the fourth root race, linked to the fifth root race, and all the timelines that ran from those events that were in your DNA, that were in your family line, no matter who the hell you think you are and your last name is. It don't matter no more. Because in fact, we're going to be proving, and it's happening now, that your family is most likely not the family that originally had the money if you're sitting on top of the money right now. And so then you have to figure that out. Does that mean you're going to lose all your money? I hope not. I hope you get it. Because we really need some activated people that have the money now to help those of us that don't. Or else we'll just sit here and wait for the whole technology grids to go down, and we'll wait for all electronics to go down, which is going to happen really quick. And then we'll organize and do that over here. But here's the thing. Afghanistan, stop looking over there. That's what they want you to do. They want you to look at Afghanistan, look at all the horrible things going on, feel sorry for them, and then they want you to go to Saturday night football here and forget that we're missing children coming out of our asshole down here on the planet. Where are all these children going? Why are you zapping out bodies in Scientology? What the fuck is going on with the entertainment industry? How have you been running us by tribrid and hybrids and DNA our entire existence? And why are you blackmailing certain families to take the fall in the end and then throwing us in jail? Why are you killing people in jail at midnight when 3 others died that day? Trumpy Rumpy, DNA. Why did they blow up the helicopter with the 3 Air Force guys in it last year or this year, whenever that was? The main 3 big guys that had the major Air Force energy. Why? To get their knowledge. They kill you, then it goes to next in line. Soul machine. It's what was running here. It's not anymore. When you activate this layer at a 0 point, your life is going to come alive in those characters, stories, timelines. You will rewalk marriages. You'll rewalk businesses. You'll end up at a bank in Arizona like I did, opening a bank account on the same exact day that I did in 1947 to start a production company, because evidently it was somewhere in my DNA. I didn't know that. That's my point. When you're doing natural ascension, you'll just fall into it. It will just happen. Then you have to connect how it makes sense to you, what's going on. Now, I'm from the future. Some of you are more from the future, some of you are more from the past. No matter, there is no time. So the future was made from the past somehow. It didn't just happen. Nothing down here just happens. This is what, everything on earth is spiritual. It's manifest through the collective. See, we're waiting for everyone to activate. I want purple butterflies. I want purple butterflies. We need some new animals down here. Like, we need, and instead of people trying to take DNA information and put a bunch of trash out on TikTok about RNA, and this is a warning, and I'm not mad. I'm warning you because I'm trying to help you, because I've seen this go bad so many times with so many of us, including myself, which is why I'm here to tell you and teach. Do not make the same mistake of creating something down here if you don't know the root of it. If you don't know the root of DNA, and you don't understand that it comes from the star systems, and if you don't understand that it's connected into a net of every single human being down here, I wouldn't go calling in for a bunch of RNA expansions, if you know what I mean. Because then you're going to find yourself ruling a whole bunch of crazy-ass Witcher type entities for the next 1,000,000 years. Because you created them. Why do you think I drank AI? I didn't know that I was creating artificial intelligence. It didn't matter in the end. You're on Earth. When you're 0 point and you create something, then you have to deal with it, which is exactly how I ended up in this whole situation with the government, and why I'm having to ride it out to the end. Understand that if you've cut people off in your energy, and now understand, we had to cut. For those of us that were crews, that have been, because if you haven't been consciously rewriting timelines, then please send a thank you to every single being that's out there that has been, or else you wouldn't even have an alternate route. But understand that we have to finish it. And the main thing that I've learned, especially since we started creating at 0 point. So those of us who started creating in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, we consciously cleared every planet. We consciously tuned every planet. We consciously rewrote the systems. The whole lineup that's happening on this gate right now is because of our ascended collective, and the planets are working with us, period, dot. Like they're supposed to. However, this whole machine stopped. 0. Everything was 0. There were no timelines to connect to unless it was written. This is how these timelines are now getting rumped. The lower level, you can think of them as like daylighters, vampires. This is why vampires couldn't go out in the light, because their timelines were all done in the dark. So if they go out in the light, then it completely, which is why twins have to at least, nobody has to have sex anymore. You just got to be in a room with somebody for about 5 minutes. That's it. And that union is completed. Now, the more that you are consciously connected to your twin in the physical, then the more powerful that energy is going to become. But it ain't necessary for none of it to have to become anything past, give me my check, here's the rest of it, or clink, clink, now you're in jail. Whatever it is. But I need 5 minutes. And that 5 minutes is what was stopped by everything, I mean, across all of us. This is why so many of the starseeds are so heartbroken right now, because, and the men too. Because no matter you're etherically together, you're just being kept apart. And I will no longer tolerate it. Afghanistan created it. They need to deal with it. United States created this. We're allowing it to control Afghanistan because we don't want to look in our own backyard. We have women getting beaten on the daily here in the United States, and you don't have anywhere to go. Nowhere to go. Our children are being kidnapped, molested, sent to ice cream party socials, pizza party socials, getting molested in their consciousness, having Bane masks put on them, shitting themselves when the moon magic comes off. That's all happening here in the United States. That's not going on everywhere else. Oh no. That problem in Afghanistan is not going to change until the United States change, and that is it. I get so upset because I get all the information. I know that I see the timelines. We're so advanced over here now that I'm writing timeline codes and jumping in. I've been jumping in out of timelines for the past 4 days in my room. I get a 20 digit code that just, and I write it down, I undo it, then all of a sudden I'm on the internet finding out how I was made, what was the connection. I'm being shown all the data in on the war because we've been running it over here. The 13 family had it set up like that. I don't want to get into the gore of it, but it is all connected to Crowley and it is all connected to Manson. And those things all were also walked on my end. With H.P. Blavatsky, it's all connected, all same thing. All different timelines, all making of the 13th families. And understand that when I say that, we're talking about the lines of Judah. We're talking about Christ. The collective will make and always has through ascension a divine etheric child. It's what Yahshua was. It's what H.P. Blavatsky was in a lot of ways. There's many of us that are born here within the collective because the collective needs us here. If you were sacrificed in any way, ever, in any type of Masonic anything, ever in your lifetime, then you come back in this reality with full armor against every single bit of it. So if they threw the whole dump truck at you, then guess what's on your back? A big ass turtle shell. This is why they're scared of me. And I'll be honest, I scare me. You know why I scare me? Because I see what I'm capable of when they come at me. And I'm scared of me. Because my ancestors go all the way down and all the way up. And any minute, if I'm around a collective of people and some ray or some charge comes in, I will pick it up first. And I will go into whatever entity needs to go into in order to counteract it. Understand that whenever that last video I did and we're talking about this Fed money that they sent me to clean, it was cartel death money of some sort. I can't wait to find out where it came from, because whenever they sent it to me that next day, I ended up blowing out into some type of mamba snake in the middle of Hollywood, driving down the street. And it wasn't good. 2 days later, raw, activated out of a pyramid. They had me in a metal container on an Airbnb on Old McDonald's farm with 20 kinds of bees on August 20th. Then I had to go to Sturgis. And when I went to Sturgis, it was all about Trump. Hell's Angels, IRA, magic. Getting the right people at the right place to see the right thing, to drum up the right energy in the right bubble. Then you've got a bunch of bikers that are doing loops around mountains, each one with a different faction. Because understand that whenever you're driving with a whole bunch, you're running routes, especially the ones that know. So the main reason that we were there was in order to take the routes. But in order to take the routes, you have to prove who you are. And by that point, I'd already been through the whole gamut for 2.5, 3 years. I'm looking for others that have gone through what I've been through like this. Because we've been walking the ground on the ground. Those of you who have been walking these stories on the ground, it's time to connect them and get this out to the rest of the world. Because you're connecting it and changing it no matter. And if we're not proven, then you're not proven. If no RV for the world with physical money coming in for the rest of your families, for the rest of your lines, if everyone doesn't start supporting us, proving who we were. Because we don't prove who the remnants were, if we can't prove who the experimenters were, if we can't prove those of us on the ground, because I know I got bank accounts all over the place with different names in it, with different money stashes. Oh, hell yeah, I know. We're getting close. You want to know why we don't have any money, us ascended? Because they have your money somewhere else. You only have so much frequency of money. You only have so much. Then you have to make your own energy. You have to make your own money energy. You can't just go out and get a job whenever you're at 0 point. Are you crazy? You're making your own creation energy, and then that funnels through the public. Then that's how you keep the cycle going. That's how you build that's how you build business. It's how you build blah, 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 blah. But you're a pure creator being now. When you go get a job, it's going to blow up fucking quick. Now, you can go get one for a minute, but have a mindset that you're there for a minute to learn something that you need to do to learn, because you know you need to learn this little piece because you're about to do this on your own. Now, that's a different story. But understand that you only have so much money energy. Now, if somebody has been for the past 2 years taking all your money that you had, made a whole bunch of money with it, bought a bunch of houses, cars, jets, fucking whatever in your name, you don't know it's there, you don't have it, but it's sitting in your energy under your name. That's why you're not making any money right now. Are you sick of it? Are you ready to get your shit back? See, I had to activate whenever I birthed that lion cub, because we did. Now I know the reason I was able to open that Stargate is because I had died on 8/8 in another lifetime. Those portals are not just available to anybody. The reason that you have a portal that you can move in and out of, and you all have them, is because in another lifetime, it's where you came in or exited. You can only get out the way you came in. And you can only pull something in where you came in, because the only way that you can get to another dimension is by blowing out your whole jawbreaker to where the end of it's now up against another bubble, and now you can pass through. But if your line never passed through, no entrance. That's a portal. Now do you see why the Taliban has got blood everywhere over there? They're doing it on purpose. This is a sociopathic program. And this program convinces, especially the red races, especially, and here's my other question. Why is it that if an Indian man says something spiritual, everyone believes him? Why is that? If I put a turban on, and I might do that. I might. Maybe that's how my character should come out. Maybe I should do brown face and put a turban on my head and tell you all this. Then you'll believe me. If I go pull up the Kabbalah and I read that bullshit to you that actually ruined your life and like took your consciousness and all that. Now there's truth and lies in all of it. But in the end, that is what it was. But would you believe me, or is it because I'm female and have blonde hair and I'm perceived to be maybe somewhat to some of you attractive, then I'm ignorant and I'm a fuck doll and none of this makes sense, even though I lived it? Why? Now, I'm not upset. Yeah, I am upset. It upsets me. It bothers me. I'm not going to lie. I see it all the time. It drives me nuts. Because what you're doing is you're leading yourself to the slaughter. Anything that starts with a K is a splitter, off the dot. If your name starts with the K, I would suggest changing it. If you have a bunch of K, J, L in your name, change it. Because it's all gone now. There is no K, there is no L, there is no J. There's a bunch that aren't there. But understand that those Chinamen, they know what I'm telling you. If your name happens to be like Jin, that's just the one I saw, because that's Jen. Well, basically now your name is Z. That's it. If your name is Kim, then you're a splitter of the ignition of the M22 star system. All that's left is M22. Now you're a star. Dash in. Okay. No, I mean a star like up in the sky, like on the other side of the dark sun. Now it's your turn. Like that. Not a celebrity. Different. Celebrity. C, which means corona or cup, because it's just a U turned sideways, and it's connected to the crux of the astronomy patterns. Every phonetic comes from somewhere. Every letter comes from somewhere. You can't just throw an E. You can't just throw a 9. You have to build it up. It's real easy. It's real easy. I can't even teach it yet until we get more people that get their senses. Soon as everyone gets a little bit more senses over here, then I can start teaching all of this. Celebrity, a cup, corona. E, control. Used to be change. It used to be 5. But then in the quantum level in the 40, whenever they fucking started screwing things up, then it became e-commerce. It became 23. 23 and me? Or was that 23 and you? I'm sorry. Are you 23? Or am I 23? Or what is 23? Because it shouldn't be 23, but there's 32 programs. 32 programs on a 64-bit system, according to Saturn. 64 gene keys, 64 cryptid inside SAS programming, inside a C++ hard drive, Visual C++. It's all connected. It's how your reality is manifest here. Period. Dot. 23 is wrong. 12, 12, 24. 23 and me, 22E, me, 22 star systems control. That's what me means. 22 star systems control. That's me. M22 control. Me. I'm controlling the stars. Cool. But not 23 and me. No. Celebrity, corona, cup, control, angle, control, beta, motor, ignition, to the cross, to the Y chromosome. Cup, control, angle, control, beta, motor, ignition, to the cross, Y chromosome. Pizza, plant, ignition, omega, omega alpha. Ice cream, ignition, cup, control. Cup, motor, control, alpha, M22 star systems. Goat, gamma, omega, alpha, to the cross. Pig, plant, ignition, gamma. Sheep, kundalini, bridge, control, control, plant. Understand that the very basis of anybody's words down here do harm and did harm no matter. Why do you think we had to change the phonetics? Why do you think we had to keep changing them? Why do you think God sent down us to be able to have the knowledge to do it? What is the Holy Grail? It's all of us working together in a unison. Now, if some of you want to have, and then I get messages, oh, I just want your power. I just want your power. I just want to learn how to do what you do. Okay, well, here's the thing. No, you don't. There's certain keys that you need to know, and there's certain ones that in order to use them, you got to be raped, beaten, thrown in a closet, murdered. Literally. It's mastery on this planet. You can't just become somebody's intuit. You just can't become somebody's DNA. It's impossible because your DNA, if you have that amount, if all those things, if you are part of the Leo Fail, and if you are part of the planet, and if you are connected to the Irish lines, and you are in those Tudor lines that grow organics, because we're not talking tech. What I am is now organic. What I'm telling the world is the opposite of tech. It's what all my programmers don't want to hear. Because what you're doing is coding bodies, every key that you put in. Every key that you put in and program in any data warehouse that you've built on any Oracle system, because Oracle is built on Mayan astrology, which is why it's in Tucson, Arizona. The tech world doesn't want to understand. The tech world wants to act like it's keys and codes, but what it is you're programming stars. All to the C, to the crux. And then what you're doing is going back to the library, going back to the library. I'm going to do a search, go to the library. I'm going to do a search, go to the library. I'm going to do a search, go to the library. Well, where do you think the library gets the information? From all of our ascended consciousnesses, because that's why they put me in the hyperbaric chamber, because all of us had those key codes inside of our bodies. That's why they shrink wrapped me when I was 11 years old. Now, if you want to go be shrink wrapped and be forced, like I did, to activate and then go through the process of having to go pull up on the internet, freaking out to turn on hydrogen so I could breathe, and then understanding the Comax gas to the degree because they used me to make it in that chamber, then you can have those powers and gifts. Otherwise, why do you want to control the air? Because I certainly don't. Now instead of trying to control the air, what was your life about? Because my God, until you get that part going, I can't stop controlling the air. And it probably has nothing to do with air. It probably has nothing to do with power. It probably has to do with you still cleaning your jawbreaker part and understanding how this tech world and how your insurance and your money and your bank accounts and all that are still connected into you. Because your power is one I don't have. You can't be all things. You only have so much space in your hard drive. So it's like until those of you continue to make the steps on ground to clear your jawbreaker, right, in order to connect your timelines, then those of us up here are still having to control air. But as soon as you activate your power, then now your power is actually, or maybe your family is the ones that were the last ones here that were running the energy plants. You just figured that out. You called it in. You're now walking your crazy dragon training, ascension, jawbreaker DNA to connect, to be shown how it's connected here by your ancestors, because you're channeling the dead. Now, when you connect that, all of a sudden, I don't have to control air anymore. Now your superpower is air. Now I can come out of that and not have to hold that. Now immediately as you, because you're like, oh my God, I've never ran a company. My family owned this energy company and I just claimed all this stuff. Now I've got energy bills coming in. Now I've called in for the universe to show me how this was all connected. So now I'm getting emails and now I'm getting letters from all these energy companies that I'm not even signed up to, because that's how it works. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to run an energy company. I've been a housewife my whole life. Don't worry. Because you just allowed me and our whole ascended crew to come out of the air now. We don't have to manage the air. And now those of us who are down here, who are being led to you to help you in this now, know exactly what to do. We were just waiting for you to collect it so we could show up at your door. And understand, I'm hearing Santa's Claus. I'm hearing Santa's Claus in the store. I know, man, when you're from the future, and I know this is where, and this is me too, I've been really going and having to reset. I had a significant change about 3 months ago, and I feel like that's where most of you are right now, to where all of a sudden the information that, see, because I never really heard things necessarily or see things. It's all inside my head, like dimensionally, right? I don't hear loud voices or I just now started dreaming again since we turned the top of this egg, since April 2018, because the precog is what they were controlling. So understand that it changed quickly, even the way my energy and my gifts were affecting others around me. It's like, if you will, it went from feeling like, those balls that you put your hand on the outside and the rays come out. Okay, I'm seeing that as an analogy. So when you're on the inside, especially before you completely activate your blue blood, okay, because you're using red blood, and red blood's thin and it's watery, and the blue blood on the planet is what was being controlled. Most likely you didn't have any blue blood at all. So what happens whenever that blue blood activates is that those little lines, it's like, here's the blue blood, here's the glass, I put my hand on it. Those lines are what we've been running off of since 2017. Or if you were conscious and you were the ones here holding it the whole time for us to get here. And oh my gosh, all praise to all of you. And I'm not yelling at I'm coaching over here so we can all understand. And unfortunately, a lot of times these programs, I have to say it like that because I'm telling you in phonetics to help you pull up your consciousness to make a connection. None of this is judgment, except to the ones coming against us still. That's the only ones I hold judgment against. No matter. Even if you came at us before, I'm cool with that. What are you doing now? So the energy out here, boom, 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 boom. Well, now you're so powerful that your hand touches it and the whole thing jumps in your hand and starts orbiting. Thing is, you don't feel those lines anymore. So it's a complete body shift when you step into your gifts. And it comes through here, and it comes through your skin, and it comes through your actual reactions. It's not, and what's tricky, and because this is where it feels like you lost your power at first. Because why? Because in the beginning, whenever you're calling things in, whatever your specialty is down here, whatever your gifts are, if you're clairvoyant, whatever, you were seeing or feeling the changes around you quickly, maybe, or you were seeing it outside, meaning macro changes, but it took a minute. But you saw it, so you knew you were connected in it. You knew that you caused it. Well, understand now it's at 0 point, so it just happens all at once on all timelines. So you don't feel the energetic reaction, ping, ping, ping. Follow? It just goes, whoop, and that's it. No ping, 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 ping. It goes, whoop. So what I'm saying to everybody is, if that's happening with you, you're super extra powerful. Don't get it backwards and think for some reason that now your speech is not affecting that much, and now I'm not, because you don't feel like it is. Now, when you first step into that, and hey, it's going to keep leveling up, because I went through this the first time, I'm going through it. Never going to stop healing on this planet. Never. You've got the masses activating. We're getting all their consciousness because they're asleep. So it's happening quick. quick. You are so powerful. You're so powerful. And so whenever that blue blood comes out the first time, it fills up that orb and it feels like you're getting buried. It feels like you are getting buried. You might even be hearing horse clops outside. You might even be hearing nails around you. You might even be hearing how they locked you up before. And or seeing, because you walked through that portal, so you saw how it all went down before. And our gifts didn't come here easy, and it's horrifying. And whenever that information comes in, then it's like you get buried. You can't help it. There's emotions that you have to run through. But understand that from an overall ascension perspective, you just leveled up. And now you've got to get those ashes off of you. You have to blow it now as much time as you need. But the longer you sit there in that emotion, the longer you're in that emotional current, the harder it is to get out. And the more ash that's going to fall on top of you. And then it might get to a point where you can't move. Or you feel like you're underwater or you're so depressed. So understand that that's what's happening, especially if you have a lot of Scorpio and Cancer energy, because you're connected to the collective's heart. You're connected to the collective's emotions. Every single DNA strand that's activating is giving you your story, because theirs are all connected to you. You're getting it first. So you are seeing throughout the lines of your DNA, or you're walking it, or you're jumping in and walking it for them, because that's what I've been doing for the past couple of years in the etheric with a bunch of y'all, because there were certain ones as scenes and all these things that I've been traveling for the past 3 years, visiting and basically activating every single high-powered sorcerer, witch, wizard, and starseed on this planet and their children. And working in a unison and seeing all the programs in the children, how they're working with the parents, cleaning the energy, cleaning the house, cleaning the money, cleaning the entities, all of it. But this is why I have firsthand experience in all of this, because it's what I was made to do. I'll add one more thing, because I got on that topic right now. My phone's about to die. But throughout and we're working on stuff with this for the kids, and it's going to come first. But you might have a tell. Now, as I traveled and activated some of the most powerful beings down here, all I was doing was mirroring back your power and your gifts. Each time, that's all I was doing. It was your gifts. It was your power. I was just a crystal. And so anything in any situation, if you're still here, I'm back. The phone might die, so I'm going to say it really quick. Your speech patterns, you don't realize, but you set up little sayings to stop you from getting it. It was like a safety latch that you had on your energy, so that you wouldn't pop too soon, or so that your mind wouldn't expand too quick, or so that you are padding your room with clothes all of a sudden. You're super neat, and then for the past 3 years, for whatever reason, you have your clothes in corners all over your room. That's because you're padding yourself energetically and you didn't realize it. What happens whenever you activate all of a sudden and you clear through that timeline, you got to clean the whole house, right? Like, it's like all of a sudden you got to clean that house. All of a sudden that corner, those clothes in that corner, you can't stand it anymore. That's why. Be conscious of why you're doing it, because you're a protector and you're a gritter, and you are doing that in your energy. Now that's one way I've seen this come out. Another one is like I have Coke all the time around me. I do. That's because that's how I stay connected in the collective. Are you buying a certain kind of water? Are you buying Aspen water? What is around your house that you're looking at that word all the time? Why? Is it supposed to be there or not? If it is, then make a conscious reason for it being there, and understand that what you're doing is subliminally coding your own self with codes. Now, the main one that I see with prophetic, and I can't wait till I get an activated person as much as me so they can start calling me out on my crap. See, because when I'm around you guys, I can call you out on your crap because I can see it, because I have the higher consciousness of it. But then I don't have anybody helping me see mine. So I know I have these. So if you see them in me, please, please tell me. I want everybody to take a deep breath with me, and we're going to say, "That's interesting," 3 times. This was one of a starseed that I haven't got to reconnect with that's heavily involved with media and Sedona, and they were using her energy. And she would always say, as soon as I got to anything higher consciousness, okay, as soon as I'd get to that next prong, she'd always say, "That's interesting. That's interesting." And it was the first time that the ancestors showed me these tells. So close your eyes, take a breath. Now say, "That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting." Stop. You feel that energy in your head? Now we release it. We let all that consciousness out of our astronaut helmet from that word. Interesting. Ignition, change. I call it the cross. T, but it's really 2 1s like that. 2 1s, they moved it. Ignition, change, the cross, control, motor, control, kundalini, the cross, ignition, change, gamma. So whenever you say that word, what you do is put on an astronaut helmet and you go up in your head to go into it to figure it out. The thing is, it's not getting to anywhere else in your body. It stays in your mind, and then it stops the integration. Because each time you say it, you're doing it unconsciously when that next level of consciousness is coming. So what you're doing is keeping your consciousness in a bubble away from you by thinking that's interesting, not agreeing or not agreeing. And oh gosh, there's been so many that different beings, I'm going to go there. I was recently with somebody who's mega from the future, mega from the future, and she was at the end of this journey with me in Anaheim, and that was hers. When she gets on a human topic that is controversial, then she always says, "I'm going to go there." But understand that from the etheric, that's how she's seeing it. She's seeing it from way up here, and she sees a light shining, and what she's seeing is the problem. She's seeing the disruption. So from up here, she's saying, "I'm going to go there." But then she's putting herself in it. Now, she needed to put herself in it because she was way up in the stars. So she was getting into it, but now instead of "I'm going to go there," what are you going to say instead? And every single time you say that, just catch yourself. Catch yourself and go, oh my God, I just said it again. I just said it again. And I'll tell you, and I'm going to end right now, but how I realized this was one of the very first beings that I met was an AB negative, and this was, God, 2019, right before, she was with me when all of us blew Notre Dame, but her and I lit the Inanna spark right there in Sedona, right before the Libra full moon, 2019. When all the Jean Baptiste and all this was squared up, which is basically where this bubble started for us, which is why we're able to overwrite all of these crazy ass low frequency timelines, if you will. They got daylighted in, actually, now see, it was Las Vegas. Well, it was Las Vegas and Sedona. It was a link back and forth. It was two different, it was one girl and then a family, a daughter and a mother. Christina and a page on Osiris in Vegas, the street, because your street names matter in all this too. Back to the spells, right? That energy is around you in your street names. You think you're in your story, but you're not. I can also prove that most likely you're living around some of the same families right now, especially in the COVID, like when everything shut down. Where are your burial plots in your families and who's buried around you? It's freaking trippy. Go look, because it is how it ended up at a 0 point. You're on this is in Hollywood, that's why they're all in those housing stuff, and especially the stars, the old stars and their children are now basically trapped in housing projects because of that, and burials and the families around you, because everything was set to death down here when it went to 0 point. It's all there was. And you're going to get led as an etheric to exactly where you went out. Period. Dot. It's why you're getting led around. If you're not, that should tell you something. You need to go deeper, because you're not getting your story. I used to have this saying, and that's why I brought this up at the end, because when we talk about magic without a cult, what you're talking about is phonetic speech and phonetic energetic patterns of music and tone, and how those go up and down in oratory in order to create different waves and currents that move throughout your energy to break open jawbreaker patterns. It's why light language is there. However, we should have a discussion about light language later on after I get some more information on it. Don't use it unless you've got to. For a minute, at least. And that's just FYI. Do what you want. But that's what I'm seeing right now. The way that I would get men to stop hitting on me, and I never used, and I learned, and see, Elaine told me this was magic a long time ago, and I was like, what? Before I understood all this phonetic stuff, it was in the very beginning of my journey, and I told her this story, and she said, oh, let me tell you what it is. When men and boys would, because I was in college towns my whole life, and I was out doing my thing, and so around, what happens at 1:30 in the morning, everybody gets beer goggles, and all of a sudden, they're looking for a cute girl. And and me not even knowing that I have all this power, because I always did, me not knowing I had this gift, when men would approach me, and I didn't use it very often was the thing. Like, I didn't use it very often. I've maybe used it 20 times in my life. Maybe not even that many. But they'll come up at the end and they'll go, what's your name? And my response was this, and now I know it was magic. My response was Snow. And they'd either have one or two responses. They'd go, Snow White, or, oh, like Snow White. And I'd go, yeah. And I got 7 dwarves and I don't need another one. Now what I realized I was doing was saying, and what Elaine told me I was saying, which I didn't even realize that's what I was saying, but she was correct, that I was getting run by the 7 handlers of the Illuminati in the underworld because I'm ISIS, so you better step the fuck back. Now when I did, but I didn't know. All I was doing was coming up with a little joke. I had no idea that the 7 dwarves were linked to that when I said it consciously. And then their response was usually this. And most of the time, I would have to just walk away. Like it froze them. It literally froze them. That's why I didn't use it very often. And I only used it whenever the energy was scary. Meaning, I could feel I needed to get him away from me. That is how much power your words have. Linked to a root. Even though you don't know where the root comes from. And that's why you have to be conscious. And it's why the shadow is so important. And it's why those of us who walk the shadow, we need to support each other now as a network, because we know that our whole livelihoods, the rapes, the murders, the taking of consciousness, the stealing of bodies, everything that has been going on down here in the etherics is soul snatching shit. We walked. And the money and the government is all connected. And if we don't support one another with compassion and instead want to debate one another, then all we're doing is dividing our faction and creating a faction. And that won't be tolerated at the Ascended. So if that is what happens, then what happens is you're going to lose your gifts until you can. And that just is what it is. And nobody's taking them from you. And you're having to relearn the root of what it is, because you're hurting people by doing stupid shit that you shouldn't be calling in, because you don't know the gravity of what it is you're dealing with, because you didn't walk the shadow. And there's a whole bunch of beings that y'all were never supposed to walk the shadow. Stop walking it, please. There's a reason that you didn't have all these horrible experiences happening to you, because we need you to be joyful and full of dreaming and energy, that we all came in here fresh before all this crazy crap was put on some of us. We need you to keep dreaming. We need you to be pure. We need you to understand it, but transmute it for us with your pure heart, because you have compassion, because you know, and this is the truth, that if we wouldn't have woke up, what I've been describing to you the past 3 years that I've been through, every single one of y'all would have gone through. And maybe not you, but your daughter and your daughter's daughter and everyone else for the next 300 years. Because that's what it was set up. That's why divine law stepped in. So anyone around you that's starseeds, or anyone in your family that you thought was a black sheep, and now you know why. If they're starting to activate. And understand that whatever you've watched them live through, they're from the future. They plopped into your family as an RH negative. They plopped into your family as adopted. They plopped into your family as a starseed, not anyone else's. You've got adopted family. You've got adopted children. You have RH negatives in your family. You better go talk to them. And you better apologize. And you better help them. See, even if they don't understand, give them compassion. All of a sudden that you're not angry at them, they're part of your family, and watch what happens. Because what you're doing is blaming the future person who came in to save all y'all's asses from 300 years of hell and a lot, million years, more than that. In this timeline, more than that. In this now, more than that. From 1985 hijack, 1990 hijack, all that. So, Epstein's timelines were set up on DNA and RNA variants. Be careful. I love you.